to Chapter 5, Brokerage Activities and Procedures. 12%. Let's get this thing done in under 5 minutes. First off, you need to know that you can have your brokerage office in your home, but it cannot be in your mobile home. Not that trailer park trash. Not in a trailer. It must be stationary construction. But not only that, you must maintain files for at least 5 years. 5 years. Zoning must permit. And you must have an enclosed room for private negotiations. Your principal office registration is transferable. Remember, your principal office is the main office where business is conducted. Your branch office, you want to remember, it's additional offices. So, with that being said, the registration is not transferable. But your branch office may be reopened at the same location without fee if the registration has not expired. Advertising. All advertising must include the broker's trade name, not just the broker's name. You ever notice, did you see Rebecca or Juliana? You might see Maybom, KW, different companies like that. The brokerage trade name must be included on all advertising unless it's going to be considered a blind ad. Because if you're a sales associate, you're a nobody. You want to become somebody, you better take the 72-hour broker's course. And not only that, be active for at least 24 months within the previous 5 years in order to become a somebody, a broker. Because any advertisement must include the broker trade name. Otherwise, it's considered a blind ad and it's illegal. Even when you're doing brokerage activities with your own personal transactions, you must go through who your broker. And not only that, you must disclose before serious negotiations that you're a real estate transaction with all personal transactions. Now, we said you may be able to get away with murder. However, you cannot get away with messing around with people's earnest money. Earnest money, also known as good faith, also known as binder fee, also known as skin in the game. Skin in the game, that escrow account. You want to remember, with your escrow funds, you need to verify, not with the buyer, but you need to verify with the title company that that money was received. And post-dated checks, think long, think wrong. It's why, because I said so. Deposit post-dated checks when? Immediately. Deposit post-dated checks immediately. Think long, think wrong. Escrow account. Remember, a broker does not have to have an escrow account, but if they have it, it must be in the state of Florida. Again, a broker does not have to have an escrow account because a lot of times the funds are typically with the title company, but if a broker has an escrow account, it must be in the state of Florida. It can be in a commercial bank, can be in a credit union, can even be in a savings association. However, you want to remember, it cannot be in a finance company and it cannot be in an insurance company. I remember I had this banker come in and say, stay away from those companies that have the word finance in it. So not finance, not insurance. Why? You know them finance companies, yeah. Y'all folks, our folks, don't let them people get you with that subprime lending paying those extremely high interest rates. That's a no. Remember, we can never commingle, but you can commingle as a landlord when posting a surety bond. And not only that, as a broker, you can put $1,000 of your own funds into the account to cover bank fees because you know there's no such thing as free lunch. By the way, we should despise free lunch, right? And you can keep additional $5,000 in your account if you're dealing with property management. Otherwise, you cannot commingle, and that means mixing business and personal funds. That's a nada. That escrow money is very important. So sales associates, remember, make sure you have that money turned in immediately, but by the end of close of the following business day. So if the sales associate receives that money on Monday, they need to have that money turned in when? Immediately, but by the following business day at the end of the day on Tuesday. And the broker has 3 days following the initial receipt. And it's when the sales associate receives it. So if the sales associate receives the escrow money on Monday, when will the broker have to have it turned in? Thursday! Let's double check. Monday is 0. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. The broker has to have that money turned in Thursday. Escrow disputes. Remember, if there are conflicting demands and you see a question that says the broker doesn't know what to do, what should the broker do? Should the broker contact an attorney? You tell me. No, the broker knows what to do. The broker is going to notify FREC, the Florida Real Estate Commission, within 15 days, because the broker knows what to do. She's going to notify, or him, he's going to notify the Florida Real Estate Commission within 15 days in writing of those days, of those conflicting demands. Now, don't get freck and deeper mixed up, because if they say deeper, read all your questions carefully. And I see this is going to be over 5 minutes, maybe 10. Let's try to do it in under 10. Read all your questions carefully, because you might see notified deeper within 15 days, and you think 15 days and you... No! I want you to remember, deeper is where you're going to receive your license. Ever went to a restaurant? Ever went to a spa? The next time you go to a barbershop, look up. You might see a license. And on the top of that license in the state of Florida, it's going to say deeper, Department of Business and Professional Regulation. And you're going to have to complete your post prior to that expiration date that's on your license. That's deeper. That's deeper, Department of Business and Professional Regulation. However, FRAC is located over in Orlando. It's a panel of people. It's a panel of people sitting around the table. Remember, the worst thing they can do is revocation, take your license, but the maximum fine imposed by FRAC is $5,000 per offense. Think about the guys, at least one guy over 60. Then you're going to have some brokers, some sales associates. Then you're going to have somebody with no experience, with green eyes. Remember, there's nothing better than that good old wisdom. So we need at least one person over 60. And then there's nothing better than those green eyes. I tell y'all how I got my job at SRS, by me simply having green eyes and got promoted. I'll tell you all about that later on. But now you need to know mediation, arbitration, litigation. What's the difference? Think about child support. Think about child support. If you all get together in a room, it's kind of like meditation. You get a third party involved and you all make the decision together. That's mediation. If you get a third party involved and one person, you agree that one person is going to make the final decision. Let's say they agree to $100 in child support a week. That's arbitration. One person makes the final decision. One third party makes the final decision. And then, what if somebody says, no, this is not enough. This is not going to cover the karate classes and the private school. Let's take this thing to court. I'm filing a bill of interpleader. On your class and state exam, when you see bill of interpleader, remember that is litigation, court action. That is litigation, court action. Then you have the escrow disbursement order, EDO. But there are always exceptions to the rule, right? Absolutely. So let's just say there was a contingency that said, contingent upon financing. If John went out and bought a brand new F-150 and he no longer got finance when he was driving when he went to buy the new F-150 for his wife and family, because he felt every family needs that F-150, right? And even though his lender told him to wait until after closing to buy it, his homeboys told him, go ahead and buy it. Every house needs an F-150. For me, we need the Dodge Ram over here, right, baby? We need a black on black Dodge Ram. But he went on ahead and got the Ford F-150. Now the day of closing is here, and his wife is getting ready for her beautiful dream home. Ooh, Lord, is it on the beach? Guess what? The lender did a soft pull on the credit, and he did not get approved. Were they able to close on the house? No. Are they still married to this day? No. But could a broker say, forget about mediation, arbitration, litigation. Forget about filing that bill of interpleader and going to litigation. Forget that the seller is objecting. You know what? I'm going to give that money back to the buyer, the guy that bought the truck, because he's going to need that money, even over the seller's objection. Can the broker do it? Yes, the broker can do it. The broker can do it because there was a contingency upon financing. And if there's a contingency upon financing or appraisal, anything like that, any contingencies, the broker can automatically give the money back without going through the process. That is an exception to the rule. But speaking of days, since we already at 10 minutes and I don't think we're going to get this thing in 10 minutes, let's try to get it in 15 minutes. And let me give you some more details from other chapters. Because speaking of days, when you see 10 days, I want you to remember if someone wants to change their employer, they have 10 days. If the broker becomes inactive, you have 14 days. And I want you to keep in mind, you better choose a great brokerage that you trust, Because if the brokerage comes inactive, your license is going to become inactive as well. And if you're out there practicing real estate without an active license, that is a third-degree felony. And I tell people, I like orange. No, I like pink. See that pink? I like pink, not orange, baby. I'm sorry. I like pink, not orange, not the orange jumpsuits, even though somebody was like, well, in Florida, the jumpsuits are different colors. Well, you get it. But back to the days. If you change your employers, how many days? 10. If your broker becomes inactive, it's 14. If there are conflicting demands pertaining to escrow, it's 15. If your application is denied, like with Cat Williams, let's say, ooh, this might not apply to Cat Williams because remember, you must disclose all convictions and DUIs. But do you have to disclose arrest? No, you do not have to disclose arrest. Cat Williams said, hey, I've been to jail, not prison. It's not the same thing. So he would not have to disclose any of those arrests. However, he would have to disclose convictions and DUIs. Even though that's in another chapter, that's good to know too, because that's speaking of days. So if your application is denied, if you were not like Cat and had arrests and you actually had some convictions and DUIs, you're one of these people that's like, the more I drink, the better I try. And yes, by the way, if you're DUI, please don't come to me asking me questions about it. My DUI was 30 years ago. Don't tell me your business, man. I want to look at you in a positive light. Everyone in a positive light. Just remember, you're going to have 21 days to appeal before the administrative law judge. Remember, you're going to have 21 days to appeal before the administrative law judge. And if you move out of state and want to keep your license active, you move to New York. Even though I hear New York, I don't know what kind of state that is right now. And California, I don't know what kind of state those are right now, but I hear that it's pretty rough over there. All the people are moving from there to the beautiful sunshine state of Florida. Yeah, we got good people leading us right. Compensation. If you get this right, you can get multiple questions right. If you remember these 3 things, remember, you can only sue one broker. And that's the broker that didn't pay you your money. You can only get paid by one broker. You can only work for one broker. So with that being said, if you're working at Walmart Real Estate and you decide to go work at Target Realty, Facebook friends and family, who can you sue? You can only sue the first broker, Walmart Co., because they're the ones that didn't pay you there. Now, another question you might see. Remember, you're licensed in the state of Florida. And what if a Georgia broker asks you to do an auction, and an auction is a real estate service, but it did not result in a sale, and the broker did not pay you, the Georgia broker did not pay you compensation. However, they gave you some out-of-pocket expense money. Because what's the price of gas and eggs today? Bidenomics. I can barely afford it. That's why I'm just drinking my Noni juice. Only kidding to a certain extent. But yeah, I was in the grocery store the other day and I bought something and I was like, wow. No, I'm serious. These prices are crazy. I can barely eat. That's why we're losing weight. I just saw on the news today that people are actually losing weight because of Bidenomics. They're losing weight because the prices of food and stuff are going so high. Well, thanks for helping with obesity. But remember, if that out-of-state broker wants to pay that other real estate agent only for out-of-pocket expenses, can they? In your mind, what's the answer? No, they cannot. Because who can you get paid by? Only your broker. And that Georgia broker is not your broker. You can only get paid by your broker. Now, can you work for XYZ during the week and ABC on the weekends? The answer is no. You can only work for one broker or owner-developer at a time. Now, sometimes people get this mixed up. Now it's going on 15 minutes. We might go on 20 because I want to share some things that a lot of people don't get right. And I want you all to ace this state exam because some of these things are in this chapter and some are in another chapter. But there are things that are very important that you need to know. Because I want you to remember the owner-developer, if you had Trump, by the way, y'all see the art of the deal back there. If you had Trump and he was a developer, would he have to take the class? No, he would not, because owner developers are registered, not licensed. They don't have to be licensed. Can you work up under Trump if you're not licensed? Yes, exception to the rule, as long as you're getting paid a salary. As a real estate associate, can you work up under Trump? Yes, and you can get a salary or commission, but that time would not count towards what we talked about earlier. If you want to become a broker, you must be active for at least 24 months within the previous 5 years. That time with an owner-developer will not count. So remember, owner-developers are registered, not licensed. And when you have a real estate company, let's say Grant Cardone 10X, real estate company or corporations that's buying and selling real estate on his own behalf, he do not have to be licensed because he's selling land and developing land and real estate services on his own behalf or on behalf of the public. Remember that. Now, if you had a real estate brokerage corporation, you need at least one active broker. But if you had a real estate brokerage partnership, you still only need one active broker. But everybody that wishes to be active in real estate sales must be active brokers. So if it was you, Barbara, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, and you and Barbara wanted to practice real estate services, and Mr. Wonderful was like, I'm just going to sit back and sip on my wine and collect my royalties. Wait a second, because anytime I mess up, I'm going to show you how hard this is. See if you can do this. See if you can do this. Say red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather 3 times. Go. If you can't say red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather 3 times go, then please forgive me for any mistakes that I make. So again, we said in a real estate brokerage partnership, you must have at least one active brokers, but everybody that wishes to practice real estate services in that partnership must be active brokers. So if you and Barbara are practicing real estate services and Mr. Wonderful isn't, he's just a silent investor to a certain extent, putting in the money, then you only need 2 active brokers. How are y'all feeling so far? So that's the real estate corporation versus the real estate brokerage partnership. If you see a question that says, which business formation may register? I want you to know it can be a corporation, limited partnership, general partnership, or sole proprietorship, or even a limited liability company or limited liability partnership. All of these, go back and listen again, all of these may register. They may register, again, corporation, limited partnership, general partnership, sole proprietorship, limited liability company, and limited liability partnership. However, you want to remember, if you see the words Inc. Co. or Corp, the answer is going to be corporation for profit. Corporation for profit. Remember, sales associates are nobodies. All these sales associates walking around like they somebody's. Tell them, LaKendra Eubanks. Oh, no, LaKendra Eubanks so sad. They are nobodies. You ain't nobody unless you a broker, baby. You a broker. Y'all ain't no brokers. Y'all ain't me. I want everybody to win. Seriously, I want everybody to win. Y'all need help studying and preparing for that broker's test. I got your back. I wish there was somebody like LaKendra Eubanks. There was a nice, black, enthusiastic girl that was out there ready to help other people when I was doing this, because this thing was tough. Joint venture. You want to remember when you and somebody else say, if there was somebody with KW, somebody with EXP, up under, let's say, Claudiane Hilbert, if somebody was R. Smith, if somebody was up under her, and then somebody was up under WK with my girl Keisha Harley, and you all get together and do a predetermined number of transactions, that would be a joint venture. That would be a joint venture. However, if 2 people were working together and appeared to the public that they were in a partnership and a partnership didn't exist, guess what? Not good. That would be an ostensible partnership. I also want you to remember Corporation Soul is church. Corporation Soul is church. I said James Brown went to my church. He's the godfather of soul. So when you see Corporation Soul, the godfather of soul, went to my church, remember religious purposes, business, trust, syndicate, and cooperative association. Remember, at the end of the day, co-ops, you're not actually having real ownership. You're actually having shares of stock. Mainly in New York, you have a lot of these, but shares of stock. And not only that, you're going to receive a proprietary lease, and you must have a real estate license to sell. But all of those may not register. Again, we said a joint venture, corporation, sole, business, trust, cooperative association may not register. 19 minutes. I guess we got it up under 20 minutes. I think we did pretty good. What do you think? So thanks again for joining in. By the way, catch me every Tuesday. Follow me on all social media. And if you know somebody seriously that's looking to pass the real estate exam, guess what? Send them your favorite instructor, me, LaKendra Eubanks, the real estate instructor. Toodles.